Hello there, friends! I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but it's hard. It's hard to rank the games that you really like and try to put them in order. And honestly, I'm looking at this list right now, and there's still some that, like, oh, that could easily go past that. That could easily go past this. My top 5 are solid. They will not move. Oh, and for this list, just so you know, I have limited it to 2 games per franchise. I can't narrow it down to 1. I just can't do that. I'm sorry. It's my list. Suck a duck, okay?
Number 25.
Number 25 is a game that I didn't play as a kid. I recently played it a couple years ago, and I was actually shocked at how much I loved it. Is the original Crash Bandicoot on the PS1. Now, I do have the Insane Trilogy, and it's also fun to play on my Switch, but the interesting yet really frustrating parts about the original is that you can't save unless you complete a bonus stage. So yeah, you know those bonus stages where it's easy to die? If you don't make it to the end of that bonus stage, you can't save. I loved how simple the game was, and I loved how quickly it spikes up the difficulty, and then it just comes down to pure skill, and I love that. There's no extra gimmicks or anything. It's just pure, raw 3D platforming at its best.
Stop looking at me.
Number 24.
Alright, so number 24, I don't think many people would put this in, like, their top favorite games of all time, but I'm going to, because it's my list. Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. I think this was the Guitar Hero game that got a lot of people into Guitar Hero, but unlike the people who played it back in 2007 and then dropped it after that, I continue to play Guitar Hero, and specifically this one. And I also gotta give credit where credit is due. This game introduced me to a lot of rock and roll songs that I didn't know growing up, so I became a lot more interested in bands like Guns N' Roses, and Muse, and Rage Against the Machine. So yeah, I think it deserves its spot at 24.
Number 23.
Number 23 is a more recent game that I played back in, it was either 2017 or 2018. And when I looked at the description, it just said 2D platformer. I was like, okay, cool, I like platforming. Celeste. Not only was this game a fun platformer, but it had a lot of, like, very difficult challenges along the way. And it had a very compelling story. But wow, I wasn't expecting a lot from an indie 2D platformer, so.
Number 22.
Okay, so this is another game where I don't think a lot of people would rank this in their favorites. I'm mostly ranking this because of its story mode. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I know a lot of people don't really like Brawl, they prefer Melee, but as a kid, I was obsessed with the Subspace Emissary. And did I say that right? I don't know. And when I first got this game back in the day, this introduced me to tons of Nintendo characters that I had never known before. I knew, like, Mario, Bowser, Peach, but I didn't really know, like, Link. I didn't know who Marth was. I didn't know who Ike was. I didn't know who Snake was. I didn't know who Ganondorf was. There's so many characters that I had never heard of before, so this game introduced me to not only my favorite gaming franchise of all time, but just a lot of really solid Nintendo characters.
Number 21.
So number 21 is a game that I actually played on this channel last year. I mentioned in my end of the year video, this game, I actually enjoyed it a lot more playing it through this time than I had in the past, so I ranked it here. Jak 2. Now, Jak 2, a lot of people call this a difficult game. I definitely struggled in some areas, but a lot of the parts that I remember struggling in before, I was actually doing pretty well in. So it was just like a good balance of not too difficult and very difficult. And also, the story is great in Jak 2. I love the characters. Jak is not emo, angry boy the entire time. He still cares about everyone. So if you haven't played the Jak and Daxter series, what are you doing? If you have a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation 3, or PlayStation 4, or now even a PlayStation 5, get it and play it. Pulse.
Number 20.
Alright, so cracking into the top 20. This game here, I don't know if a lot of people know about this game, unless if you solely got a Wii back in the day, which I know a lot of people did, but I don't think they knew about No More Heroes. So No More Heroes uses the motion controls of the Wii, but they're not like extreme rage the entire time trying to cripple the player. So the game starts off and you play as this douchebag named Travis Touchdown, who's a great main character.
Hey! He's gone! Mr. Sir Henry motherfucker, he just jetted! What a pussy.
And he's basically trying to get up to the top of the Assassin's ranking. Overall, it's just a very solid game, so check it out if you have a Wii.
Number 19!
So number 19 is a game that I played on this channel, one of the first games I played. This game is Psychonauts. So Psychonauts is one of those 3D platformers from back in the day, but it does a very unique spin on it. Now I will say that this game starts off very slow, but once this game kicks off, oh boy, it is great. What's really unique about this game is you play as a psychic trainee. So you get to do things like levitate, you can use clairvoyance, you can shoot beams of energy with your head, you can turn invisible, you can use telekinesis. There's a lot of different cool abilities I haven't seen in early 3D platformers, so it's really, really unique and cool in that sense.
Number 18!
So number 18 is a game that I recently played on this channel, and I absolutely loved it. The original God of War. So I wasn't expecting that much from this game, but I knew that it was a very popular franchise, so I was excited. I didn't expect this game to be super challenging in parts. I didn't expect the puzzles to be so intricate and fun, and the story to be as awesome as it is. The ending of God of War is awesome. Definitely one of the best endings to a game that I've seen. And I felt the story to be compelling the whole way through. You have this motive, this drive to seek revenge on this person who ruined your life, basically. So yeah, overall a fantastic experience.
Number 17!
Ooh, number 17 is the only game that I'm gonna have from this franchise. I've replayed it a few times, and with the other games I played, I still always think back to Pokemon Fire Red. I haven't played the original Red, but the remake Fire Red is fire. I grew up watching the Indigo League, and so, you know, the original are the ones that I remember the most. And usually when I'm playing a different Pokemon game, I usually am like, oh man, I wish I was playing Fire Red right now. So, yeah, that's why it takes a spot at number 17.
Number 16!
Number 16 is a game that is well praised, and I understand why. Okami. So Okami I played years ago, but I remember when I did play it, a lot of people talk about the art style and how gorgeous it is, but it is very, very similar to The Legend of Zelda, the way it's set up. I have the Wii version. I know it originally came out on PS2, but I love how you can use the Wiimote to use the paintbrush, and then you can paint bombs, or you can slice through enemies. It's really unique and cool in that way. So Okami definitely deserves a spot on this favorite games list.
Number 15!
So, number 15 is a game that I didn't play until way after it had come out, but I kept hearing everyone saying it was one of the best games of all time. Bioshock, the first one. Now, I have played the other Bioshock games, and they are just, to me, not as good as the original. I started this game solely because I had heard a lot of people talking about it, and I think I bought this game at GameStop for like $2. And it was one of the first FPS games that I had ever played. And it had like a few challenges here and there, but overall it's just like a very solid, fun, good game. And the story and the twists are so awesome. I love Rapture. I love the area. I love the idea that in the roaring 1920s, they created this underwater utopia that ended up turning to shit because of all the drugs that everyone was taking. I love the whole atmosphere of the game. It's really awesome.
Number 14!
So number 14 is a game that I played last year that I didn't actually record myself playing because I hadn't started the channel yet. Resident Evil 4. So right now, as I'm making this video, I'm currently playing the first Resident Evil on the PS1, but the fourth game is just so good. I had never played a Resident Evil game until I played this one, and I love the story. The boss fights are awesome. I honestly don't mind the tank controls. I think they work well with a game like that. So it was one of the first like scary games that I had ever played, and there were so many times with the regenerators, with the Iron Maidens, with the night room, with the hedge maze, with the wolves. There's so many places where I like actually jumped and had to let out a gasp, which was the first time I had really done that. So it was a very different and fun experience.
Number 13!
Number 13 is the only game on this list that I have not finished. And unless if the game turns to crap, which I know it won't because I've heard about the reviews and how great it is, but Dark Souls is easily one of the greatest games I have ever played. The combat is so rewarding when you when you finally beat something. If you're wondering what I'm stuck on right now, it's Ornstein and Smoke. I just need to get back and play the game, but especially, I know this is like everyone's least favorite part, but my favorite part of the game was Blighttown. I just thought it was so cool, so unique. Every time I died, it just gave me the motivation to go down to the poisonous lake and get to the spider boss even more. I just had that motivation. I love the lore, I love the world building, I love the weapons, I love the armor. I love this game. It definitely deserves a spot here on this list, even if I haven't finished it yet.
Number 12.
Alright, number 12, I'm excited. This is the most recent game that I finished on this channel that is going on this list. Ghost of Tsushima. Wow, you know, I heard a lot of people talking about this game, but the whole reason why I played this game was in spite of The Last of Us 2 winning Game of the Year. And so I went into this game really not expecting that much. I just wanted to play it just so I could say, yeah, it's better than The Last of Us 2. What I wasn't expecting was the game is one of the greatest games I've ever played ever. I didn't know that the game was going to have such a fleshed out story. I didn't know that the combat was going to be amazing with all the different weapons and styles of fighting that you can use. I didn't realize that the game was going to be an open world game where you can just explore and do whatever the heck you want. I didn't know that there were going to be choices in the game that affected the story and how it plays out. So yes, this game definitely deserved Game of the Year, but honestly, it's one of the best games that I've ever played, and I highly recommend it to any of you who are debating whether or not to play it. If you have a PS4, get it. Check it out. It's definitely worth it.
Number 11.
So I've been talking a lot of smack about the sequel to this game, but the original The Last of Us is a solid masterpiece. Is it perfect? No. But is it a compelling game with awesome combat and amazing narrative and fleshed out characters? Yes, it is that. If you haven't seen anyone play it, or if you haven't played the game yourself, you really should check it out. I don't want to share too much about it, but I just will tell you that if you like story-based games, you will love this game. It also has a lot of great combat sections in it, so there's a reason why I hate the second game. It's because this game is so freaking good. Before I get any farther, I just want to do some honorable mentions. These are the ones that I also listed, but didn't quite make the top 25. So one game that I grew up loving, but it unfortunately didn't make the list, was Kirby Air Ride. So much fun. What a great racing game. I love the city trial. Top riding can be fun too. Just overall a solid racer. Another one I wanted to add is Harvest Moon Magical Melody. This was one of the first GameCube games I ever played when I was a kid. I went over to my friend's house. She had it. I was obsessed with it. It's one of the most addicting games I've ever had. Every time I go back to the game, I just spend countless hours just playing the game nonstop. Another one that I wanted to add is one I actually haven't finished, so maybe once I finish it, I'll add it to the list, is Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Wow, one of the best DS games I've ever played. It's so much fun. It utilizes every single aspect of the DS. Great, solid game. Another one is a one that I haven't finished is Donkey Kong Country Returns. Boy, is this a difficult game. I'm almost to the end, so, you know, I've had a really good time playing this one. If you like a nice challenge along with Donkey Kong stuff, then you'll definitely enjoy this. And then, of course, I had to add in an honorable mention, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Gold, the one that I have. And you know what? Maybe I should play that on the channel. That might be really fun. But this game was my childhood. I think a lot of people, their childhood was playing Sims on PC and Roller Coaster Tycoon, some version of it. So, had to add that. Ooh, friends, we're cracking the top 10 now.
Number 10!
So number 10 is a more recent game, came out in 2017. I actually borrowed this game from my friend Kareem, because he had it and he was like, you gotta play this game. Super Mario Odyssey. So this actually isn't my favorite Mario game. We'll get to my favorite later. But I was blown away. I honestly wasn't expecting much from Odyssey. I wasn't expecting to have such a fun experience. And even though like a lot of the moons are very easy to find, there's some that are extremely difficult to find. So there's a good pace of both. And I think that Nintendo really did a good job with that, because kids can play it and they can have a great time. Or people like me who are completionists who have almost 900 moons and want to get the rest. It's a nice challenge to try to find a lot of them, so I really enjoyed this game. So if you like 3D platformers, especially Mario games, check out Odyssey if you haven't played it.
Number 9!
Number 9 is a game, there's no dialogue in the entire game, And this game I actually love so much that when I was doing my senior voice recital at my college, the last song that I sang was a song from this game. Journey. I don't even want to call it a game. It's more of an experience. The music is gorgeous. The visuals are stunning. It's just like staring at diamonds and consuming liquid gold the entire way. It's just a stunning game. So if you haven't experienced this one, please, please play it.
Number 8.
Number 8 is a game that I kept hearing for years, people praising this game, a lot of people putting this at their number 1, and I just never picked it up for some reason until Boyfriend begged me to play this game. Shadow of the Colossus. I had no idea what this game was about. I didn't realize that on a PlayStation 2 game that you would be climbing up these enormous monsters trying to defeat them in order to save the person that you loved. Wow! I love how almost every Colossus is completely different than the other. I love the barren atmosphere, how there's just nothing in this world except for you and the Colossi. Just, I get it. I understand why everyone loves this game. I get it.
Number 7.
Oh, Number 7. Number 7 is a game that I didn't expect a lot from, and this is one of those games that I didn't know this character until I played Brawl. And I was like, who the heck is Samus? What's Metroid? And so then I got the trilogy on the Wii, and I played Metroid Prime. And it's one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's solid in the Metroidvania style, obviously, is Metroid. It's great in the whole FPS aspect. I love all the backtracking. I know a lot of people don't like backtracking. I love it. I love like finding new abilities and trying to remember, okay, where can I use this? I love how you can take the map and flip it over to try to figure out where in the heck you are in this whole crazy world that you're in. Such a fun game. So much fun. I should go back and replay this one. Now I played Echoes. Echoes is fun too. I have not played Corruption. I need to get into that one. But yeah, the original Metroid Prime.
Number 6.
Number 6 is the one game that Boyfriend was begging me to play. Even before we started dating, he had been begging me to play this game since it came out in 2015. And that game is Undertale. Now, Boyfriend had very specific instructions. He said, you have to play the game and not kill anything. And I really, really wanted to not listen to him, but I went through with it, and I'm so glad I did. I've played it neutral, I've played it pacifist, and I still haven't beaten Sans, but I pretty much played it genocide. I wasn't expecting much. You can't judge a book by its cover, but there's a reason why everyone loves this game. I love the music. I actually use the music for some activities with my kids at school. They don't know what it's from, but they usually say, I like this music. Undertale, dude.
Number 5.
Oh, my top 5. Yeah, these aren't going anywhere. These are... I don't know if I'll ever move these guys around. Number 5 is my favorite Mario game, Super Mario Galaxy. Now, I grew up playing Sunshine, and I've played a lot of 64. I love Super Mario 3. Super Mario World is great, but to me, there is no greater Mario game than Super Mario Galaxy. The limits that Nintendo pushed to make it so that you can literally walk around a planet and you just, every planet has its own center of gravity is such a cool concept. I love the power-ups in the game. I love Bee Mario. I love Boo Mario. Every level is completely unique. Every planet's completely unique. There's multiple stars. There's multiple secret stars. You have the comet stars, which can sometimes be a pain, but are also really fun. And then once you beat the game, then you can go and do the purple comets, which everyone wants to rip their hair out and stab themselves in the eyes, but you know what? It's still great. It adds a nice challenge to the game if you thought that a lot of parts were too easy. And the music. I mean, Mario is known for having solid music, but the soundtrack of Galaxy is insane. Boyfriend was actually asked one time at an interview, if you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only bring one album with you, what would it be? And he said the Super Mario Galaxy soundtrack. The full orchestra for this game, for a Mario game, is absurd. It's ridiculous how good the music is in this game. And can I just say that this is one of the most compelling Mario stories of any game ever. Rosalina's story is so sad, but I actually feel an urgency to go defeat Bowser. Like, is it just me? But Bowser actually seems, like, bad in this game. Like, he seems evil. Even though he's a big fluffy looking turtle with spikes, he actually seems like the bad guy. You want to go stop him. I could spend forever talking about this game, but we gotta move on because we got more games.
Welcome! Welcome, new galaxy!
Number 4.
Alright, number 4 is another game that Boyfriend begged me to play. The whole reason why I never played this game, even though I owned it, was because I didn't have the first game, which he made me play. So about 2 years ago, I played Portal 2. I mean, there's a reason why it's number 4. This is one of the greatest games I've ever played. I love the puzzle solving. The characters are so phenomenal.
Oh, hi. So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato. Oh, good. My slow clap processor made it into this thing. So we have that.
The voice acting of GLaDOS and Wheatley, which, by the way, if you know my cat and you know his name, yes, my cat is named after Wheatley, the robot from Portal 2. So, obviously, I really, really love this game.
Number 3.
Number 3, if you've been watching this channel for a while, I don't think this is a surprise to anyone that I would have this game so high up on the list. Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. My favorite childhood game of all time. And I freaking love this game so much that I actually speedrun this game now. I never, ever get tired of playing this game. There's a reason why I chose this game to start learning how to speedrun. I can start this game 100 times, and every single time I play it, I will not get tired of playing it. I played a lot of early 2000 3D platformers, and every time I play one of them, I just think back to Jak and Daxter and how much I love that one. It was really the first game to have this open world feel where every single level connects and there's really no loading screens, and that was huge at the time. So it gave a lot of push for games to become the way that they are. And yeah, I mean, it's really unique how they could get that out of a PS2 game to have it feel like an open world. Really, really cool and unique.
Number 2.
Number 2. So, my number 1 and my number 2 are both from the same franchise, and I don't think that that's that much of a secret that it's going to be from The Legend of Zelda, but yeah, here it is. So this game, actually, this was my number 1 game of all time for years. But yeah, it now is at the number 2, is Majora's Mask. This is not only one of the best Legend of Zelda games, but it is one of the greatest games ever. There's so many people out there who aren't even really into video games, who are fully just taken into the story of Majora's Mask. I think that's why I love it so much. It has its dungeons, and the dungeons are solid except for Great Bay. Everyone hates Great Bay, but it still can be fun sometimes. The story, and especially the side quests, I don't understand how they were able to create this game in just a year and make it so that when you repeat a day, everything is set up exactly as it is. When that clock ticks, every character moves with the clock, and it's so unique. The side quests are awesome. All the masks that you get are great. And I love this game so much that I'm even obsessed with things like the creepypastas and the whole thing about how Link is actually dead in this game, and Majora's Mask is him going through purgatory. The Kubler-Ross model of grief. It just makes so much sense. I love this game so much. You need to experience it. If you don't play it for yourself, then watch someone play it. It's kind of like Journey. It's an experience.
Number 1.
Number 1 is Breath of the Wild. I don't need to have this big build-up. Yeah, I think you probably know it's Breath of the Wild. I'm obsessed with Breath of the Wild. I love Breath of the Wild. I love The Legend of Zelda. After I played this game in 2017 when it came out, I really had to debate with myself, do I like this game more than Majora's Mask? And it was really, really hard, but I can confidently say it now. I like this game more than Majora's Mask, but they're very different games. Breath of the Wild is the best open world game ever, period. Like, you can try to fight me on that if you want to. Like, I know a lot of people really like Skyrim. I know a lot of people like Rockstar games because they're open world, but they are not as good as Breath of the Wild as far as its open world concept. Breath of the Wild is one of those games where it is almost impossible to stop playing the game once you get started. And it's also almost impossible to go towards a task that you've set out to do, because you'll get distracted by 50 million things along the way. There's so many freaking things to discover. I've played through the game twice now, both getting almost 500 hours in both saves, one on regular, the other on master mode, and I still haven't found everything. I am so glad that Nintendo delayed this game so many times like it did, even though it was painful at the time, but they really came out with such a solid game. It's just the best. It really is. So yeah, that's my list. So if you agree, disagree, leave a comment. I'd love to know what your favorite games are, what you would put in your top 3, top 5. If you want to give a list, go ahead, put it down below. I'd love to see it. These games are great, so I look forward to playing many great new games in the future. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment, friends, subscribe to become a friend, and well, alright.